I want to go quickly back to Brandon out of Mississippi, a first time caller. I had to put him on hold so far with the phone. Brandon, let's try it again.
Can you hear me better, sir?
Loud and clear.
Okay. All right. I have a question for you. I was wondering if you could help me discern the difference between a person who is a genuine follower of Jesus, who sometimes backslides, and a person who is not a genuine follower of Jesus, who is like self-righteous and convince them that they're just a Christian who occasionally sins every now and then.
What is backsliding? What does that mean?
Well, that's something I've talked to my pastor about it before. I'm still trying to work it out in my head. Whether or not you can actually lose your salvation or not. I'm still a little cloudy on that.
And when you say lose your salvation, what do you mean by that?
Well, I've heard once you're saved, you're always saved. But then the Bible says certain things like "let no man take your crown" and other things of that nature. So I'm not really sure what to believe. I read the Bible a lot. I go to church every week. I pray. I bring my kids to church. I try to do. So I don't know if it's just like intrusive thoughts that are I'm giving too much power to, and just overthinking, or what. I'm just wondering if you could help shed some light on that for me.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Repeat the question for me again. I'm black and slow.
I love it when you say that. That's hilarious. Could you explain the difference to me of a Christian who is occasionally sins or backslides, and a person who's not a genuine Christian, but they're like self-righteous and claims to be a Christian, but occasionally sins?
There's no difference. They're both the same.
Okay, so does that mean that... okay, I wasn't expecting that. Do you think... so I guess that means that the question of losing your salvation, you can't lose your salvation.
How can you be born of God and lose it?
I don't know.
Can you be?
I don't know.
When you're born of your mother, can you go back into the womb?
No, sir. So
how can you be born of the Spirit and be unborn?
I guess you can't.
Right. So there's your answer.
Well, that took a lot less time than. So I guess I guess I'm overthinking it because I've been not really questioning my. Well, I guess I am now that I'm saying it out loud. I've questioned my relationship with Jesus because I do, sin occasionally, and then I feel guilty for it, and it makes me question my salvation or my place with Jesus. And I'm really kind of struggling with that.
Why would you question something that you're not guilty of?
Well, if I do, like, lie, for example, then I am guilty of that.
And when you say you are guilty, who is the you that is guilty?
I'm not really sure how to answer that.
But then how can you say I am guilty and you don't know who you are? When you
That's
say
a good question.
When you say I am guilty, who are you referring to? You don't even know who you are. So who is the I that is guilty that have sinned? Who are you referring to?
I guess my spirit, my being, my consciousness, whatever we are that's inside of our bodies.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Trying to figure out how to answer who I am.
When you say I have sinned, who are you talking about?
I'm not sure.
So then how can you say that and then get all those false feelings with it when you don't know who you are? How can you say I have sinned and then get these feelings with it? Who is getting the feeling? Who are you referring to? You know what I mean?
Right. So that's that's a good question. That's got me puzzled. Do you think that we are our spirits that are in our body, or I don't know, Jeffrey. I'm trying to. That's kind of puzzled me. Who am I? That's kind of got me. Because I think I know who I am. I know the characteristics that describe me, but like you said, that's not me, right?
Right.
So are we the spirits that are in these meat sacks?
What?
Is that who we are?
Why don't you know who you are?
Oh, I guess I've never thought about it that way. Whenever I've thought who I am, I think, I'm a follower of Jesus. I'm a father. I'm.
Why do you think you're a follower of Jesus yet you're lost?
Well, I do. I try to do my best to follow the commandments, and love yourself, love your, all the different things that Jesus says in the Bible. Love others as.
How can you love yourself and you don't even know who you are?
That's a good question.
Who is the self that you're loving?
I don't know. Maybe I'm loving this persona that I've applied to myself.
Yes. And where are you getting the love from to love your false self with?
Well, only love comes from God.
But are you getting love from God to love the false self?
Well, if I'm not, then it's not really love, right?
Right.
So if I was getting love from God, then I wouldn't be questioning these things, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Which is easy for you to accept? That you are a sinner or all your sins have been wiped away?
Definitely that all my sins have been wiped away.
Then why do you call yourself a sinner?
Because I sinned.
And if there is no you, how can you sin?
That's a good question. So can you occasionally sin and not identify as a sinner?
If there is no you, how can you sin, and how can you occasionally sin but not identify as a sinner if there is no you to sin?
That's a good question. So I'm thinking that I need to reframe my question. I don't think I'm asking the right question. Talking to you, I think I'm not asking the right question. I think I need to be asking, who am I?
And when you ask that question, don't fill it in with an answer. When you ask the question, "Who am I?" don't let the imagination fill it in. Oh, you're this, you're that, you're son of God, you're this or that. Don't fill it in. Leave it as blank space, and you shall know. But the imagination gonna fill that in with all the knowledge of evil, and you're gonna call that good. You're gonna call it you.
Okay. So how do you suggest that I set myself on this journey to discovering who I am or what I am?
By discovering who you're not. You're not your thoughts. You're not your feelings. You're not your body.
I just control all those things.
You don't control them. They control you. You're not driving the car. You're the passenger in the car.
Okay, I see you.
There is no
So I
you.
really,
So how can you still didn't tell me who you are? So there's no you. How can no you control anything?
I don't know. I don't know, Jesse. That's kind of got my brain scrambled. I've never separated, mentally, I've never separated myself from, I guess, my emotions. I've tried to, but, or I say I've tried to. Maybe I haven't really tried to. Maybe I've just told myself that I've tried to.
Didn't God tell you to bring every thought into captivity? All thoughts are all lies all the time about anything?
Yes, sir.
So why you still believe thoughts?
Hmm. I guess, I don't know. Maybe because it's easier.
But it's not easier. You're miserable when you believe them. Are
Yeah,
you
you're right
saying,
about that.
yeah, misery is not easy.
So maybe it's because maybe I'm looking for an answer, and maybe me inserting that into me makes it easier for me to come to an answer.
But if there's no you, how are you doing all those things?
Oh man, you've got me, Jesse. So I need to figure out who I am by identifying who I'm not.
Absolutely. You're not your thoughts, neither the good ones or the bad ones, so called good ones or bad. They're both imposters. You're not your emotions. Emotions come from thought, which is straight out of hell. Emotions are not necessary. And you're not your body. You need to see that, and then the real you will come forth. When the fate you disappear. You must die in order to live. The ego must die. And right now you're living an ego life, calling it God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might be right. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, so can I ask you a second question? Do we have time for a second
Yeah,
question?
one more. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you think that hell is a place of literal fire?
You're living in hell right now. In your own world, inside of you is pure hell. That's hell. You're
So,
miserable, you're afraid, you're lonely, you have a false opinion of yourself, you are trying to be nice to people and they take advantage of you. You're living in hell, it's inside of you, in your imagination.
yeah.
As it is in every human being on earth until those who work to overcome it, right? You can overcome it. But hell is inside of human, and those people who don't want to overcome, they are in hell, and then they try to bring hell upon other people so they can get a false thrill from it.
So do you think that there's no hell after you die or after the body dies?
Just if you die with the hell in you, that's what you'll continue to live. If you die with
Oh,
heaven in you, that's what you will continue to live.
I've never thought about it like that. Okay. Well, okay. So if hell's not a literally fiery place,
You,
then why does
the pain
Jesus?
that you feel, the pain that you feel from your misery is fire. You are burning. All angry people are burning on the inside. They are burning with revenge. They are burning with jealousy. They are burning with comparing themselves to others. They are burning by looking for love. They are burning wanting more money. Or they are even comparing themselves to others. That is fire. It's painful.
Yeah. Okay.
So I got to ask, and then I got to run. Have you gone and forgiven your mother and father?
Yes, sir. I have.
You told them?
I yes, sir. A few years ago, I actually overdosed on prescription medication, and after I recovered from that. When I was young, my mom did the same thing, and she actually spent some time in prison. And after that incident with me, after I recovered, I went to my parents and told them everything that they ever did and how it made me feel, and how it affected me for the all the way into my adulthood. And we were crying and everything. I told them, now I understand, because I'm doing the same thing now that I resented you for my whole life.
And
And now
you told me you forgive them for resenting them?
yes, sir. Now my
Well,
mom and me don't really talk anymore.
nice.
I made my peace there, and I reach out to her. She tells me happy birthday. That's about the extent of our relationship.
And why do you
But
reach
me and
out
my
to
dad
her at
are,
all?
sir.
Why do you reach out to her, period?
Just thinking about her every once in a while. She's been in and out of drugs my whole life, so just to check in, make sure she's still alive and
Why?
all that. I mean, that's my mother.
And it's not your mother. How old are you?
33.
That's not your mother anymore. You're a grown individual man now. And your father and you say, what about that? Him?
My father, we don't talk. I mean, we talk more than my mom. But we when we do talk, it's always positive. It's always never a negative interaction with my dad anymore. He used to drink a lot, and he was abusive and all that. So it's nice that we can have a positive interaction with each other.
Have you forgiven him?
Yes, sir.
And does
I had the same kind of situation with him.
and does your wife obey you?
I'm not married.
I thought you said you had children.
I do. The mother of the kids, she's not alive anymore. She was murdered a few years ago.
Oh, right on. I mean, not right on, but really.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty. I guess she put herself in a situation she shouldn't have been in, and bad things happen.
And you ended up with your children. How many you have?
I've got 4. 2 of them I have. The other 2 was kind of lost in an adoption process about 10 years ago. So I haven't seen them since then. But I do have my other 2 children.
Right on.
And we have an excellent relationship. They're my favorite people in the world.
Here's what I recommend. It's up to you. You still can do your little hooping and hollering prayer and carry it on, right? But when you're done with that, do the silent prayer. Rebuildingtheman.com/prayer, so that God can bring you out of your imagination, and you would see and know Him, and He would destroy the darkness of the imagination and give you a clear mind. You need a brand new nature. You're still operating from that old nature, which is of the imagination, and you need to die from that. In order to live, you must die.
You said Rebuilding the Man?
Rebuildingtheman.com/prayer.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to check into that and utilize that this week, and I'll probably give you a call next week, and we can touch base again.
Okay, absolutely. But you still do your little hooping and hollering, begging Satan and telling yourself you're begging God, right? And then be still and know God.
That's the main thing, huh?
Yeah.
All right, Jesse. Well, I appreciate your time. It was good to finally talk to you.
Do you want to know who God is?
Of course.
The easiest way to know Him is to stop thinking about Him.
And just live it.
And just live. Because every idea, every thought you have about God is false. It's just a thought about Him, and it does nothing good for you at all, because thinking about God is not knowing God. Knowing God is knowing God without thinking about Him.
Okay, like a state of being instead of a mindset.
Absolutely. And Satan and the Bible you've read and the preachers who have taught you and the parents who have taught you, they have given you ideas about God, and that's all you have, and that's why you don't have perfect peace, because you're living on ideas, and ideas don't work. You got to get rid of all those ideas, and you will if you stay present with God instead of lost in your thoughts or your emotions or in the past or in the future. If you stay present, you will know Him, you will be with Him, and you will know it, and you will have an amazing life. Thinking
Awesome.
about God is not knowing God.
Yeah, that's a important distinction that I haven't heard before.
Well, do the silent prayer so He can give you a clear mind, and He will.
Yes, sir, I will. Thank you, Jesse.
I wish you well, man.
I'm gonna call. What's today? Today's Monday. I'm gonna call next Monday, and we can touch base again
All
and
right,
see how things are going. Because I'm curious.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Oh man.
Satisfaction brought him back.
See, I'm thinking about it again, huh?
But you feel free to call anytime, all right?
Okay. Thank you, sir. Have a good day, Jesse.
You too, buddy.